Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vansha kalpatarusha kripa sindhabeva cha patitanam bhavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Shatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you so much for joining, dear devotees from many parts of the world. Today, we begin with remembering His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. As Prabhupada stated many times and as indicated by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the way to success in spiritual life is to be the servant a million times removed. And in one way, spiritual perfection is simple. That is, find a Vaishnav and serve under the Vaishnav. The Vaishnav who is the servant. And remembering His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj today, and thinking back on his life, especially after hearing his last will and testament a couple of times, remember how the principle of finding out how to please the Vaishnav and then dedicating one's life to that principle is the only means of success. This comes up again and again in Prahlad Maharaj's prayers. And he's directly speaking to Lord Nrsingadev, but he keeps deferring to his spiritual master and saying, I am only going to serve him. He's the one who saved me from the dark well of material existence. So His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj very early on distinguished himself by taking up the service that was so pleasing to Srila Prabhupada, which was distributing his books. And as he continued in his devotional service, he excelled in all areas. When we observe the way he spoke, the way he carried out his devotional practices every day, at least what I see is following the simple path very strictly. There are many things we can do, but the most necessary things are those things that are especially and clearly authorized by the acharyas. And His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj adhered to the mood of Srila Prabhupada. When it comes to book distribution, I don't know anyone who's more outspoken, more successful than His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj in distributing books. And how did he do it? He advocated for it again and again. Advocate. It has the word vok. You talk about it and you say it's important. All manifestations come originally from speech anyway. And we're here remembering His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj as the most distinguished servitor of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivinoda Swami Prabhupada. We pray that we may follow in his footsteps in his successful devotional life to His Divine Grace. And may we continue the legacy that His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj set by expanding book distribution by multiples of 10 or more every decade. Thank you for considering our request. Om Tat Sat. So today we have an opportunity to refocus because the service of book distribution it is direct preaching to the people in general. And Srila Prabhupada talked about how before he came to America, he didn't work to build temples. He just distributed books. And he said, after I came to your country, I didn't concentrate on building temples either. He said, but when people came forward as a result of the preaching and they said, can I build you a temple? Then he would do that. There's never a time when he didn't advocate, Srila Prabhupada, that is, that book distribution was a highly advanced activity for devotees because it means going out into public and seeing that Krishna is in everyone's heart, remembering that everyone is a spiritual soul and everyone has the opportunity to rise in due course of time. The only thing separating people who are in ignorance from a blissful life and devotional service and the prospect of going back to Godhead after having achieved a human form of life, after transmigrating so many times in species of life where it wasn't possible, is receiving a little transcendental knowledge. And it could be, as Prabhupada said, even one sentence, even one word, an initial contact with a devotee who took the trouble to come out of his or her comfort zone and come into the venue where the person happened to be walking and saying, excuse me, how are you? I have something for you. So this is a time in which we can refocus. We have a way that we've been keeping goals over the last several years, at least in North America since around 2007, 8, 9, when we became more goal-oriented. We're able to measure from a baseline, and book distribution in America, in North America, has increased threefold. And now all over the world, of course, working as a global team, miraculously, we don't even know exactly how it's happening, but when we put our minds to it collectively and we set goals together, then by Lord Chaitanya's mercy, we're able to achieve them. And that sustains our life because it also sustains our faith. And it also keeps us so much engaged that we practically don't notice the passing of time. And of course, there's also the reading of Prabhupada's books, which goes on simultaneously because, as Prabhupada said, these books are not just for selling, they're also for reading. I want everyone to read these books thoroughly. And we're also working on reading them together. So I want to go through a few points today and then have some discussion for those who'd like to speak. We don't have a specific order in which to call on anybody, but in response to any of the points that we make today, if you have thoughts or ideas that you'd like to bring up or questions, then we'll open it up for everyone to add something. So we'll go to the slide deck, and I want to This is such a beautiful picture. You see Prabhupada's satisfaction, delivery of one of the books that the devotees had produced after Prabhupada's painstaking efforts to make them available to the world. His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj. We've just completed a light campaign. Light meaning we're bringing light to the world. And also, it's a kind of silent campaign, like there's airports in which they don't have loud announcements. It's just if you want to get a page, you have to look on a screen somewhere and find out someone's looking for you. There are those who like to take a little time to reflect and recover from the marathons during this time. There are others, because there are various layers we have in our ISKCON society around the world, others that are up for it at this time of year to have something to do, to continue their book distribution activities. Also, we don't want to leave out the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. We feel that by covering the Bhagavad Gita, the Srimad Bhagavatam, and the Chaitanya Charitamrita throughout the year and having clear goals for that, going into the future as ISKCON chugs along into the Kali Yuga and makes these 3 titles predominantly available to the world, along with the other titles as well, of course, will be well represented and will have planted the seeds of Prabhupada's books far and wide. So we have the Be a Gardener campaign. Obviously, the metaphor of being a gardener came from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Our goal for 2024 was to do 2,500 sets of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita globally. And in Oceania, they did 59 sets. Africa did 46 sets. And I'd like you to, as we go through these, in your mind's eye, imagine each set in somebody's home somewhere. We don't know exactly who got them, but Krishna does. And if you'd like to imagine them sitting on somebody's shelf somewhere and the difference it made to every individual who received them, it makes those numbers quite significant. 46 for Africa, 67 for Europe. And yes, there are translations in many languages. South America did 2 sets. North America did 635 sets, and you can look and see on the map, obviously. See if you can find your Moscow on the screen there. Go right ahead. India did 5,759 sets. And together, we distributed globally 6,568 sets of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, 59 in Oceania, India 5,759, Europe 67, Africa 46, South America 2, North America. Well, I'm sorry, Ganapati Govinda Prabhu, Connecticut was missing. If you contact Shamahini afterwards, we'll find out why it was missing. And there's a lot missing. It's an unwieldy process, although we are streamlining it to get everyone's pledges and reporting. As a reminder, cooking means cleaning, Prabhupada said. Similarly, book distribution means reporting. If you don't report, or if you report late or something, it makes it hard to get in here. And I'm not saying that's what happened in Connecticut. I'm just saying, in general, one of the most strenuous activities we do at the end of every marathon, and it's not the end till everything's reported, is to gather the scores together, because lots of times everyone goes out, they'll distribute, but then either they don't report their scores locally or not internationally. So to be complete, to be Brahminical, to have clear ideas about how we're moving towards our goals, it's a really great idea to inculcate this into every team, and that is that as cooking means cleaning, similarly, book distribution also means reporting. What a beautiful marathon. Congratulations, everybody. We really smashed the goal. It was at 2,500. We did 6,568. And there was um, no stress in this marathon. Everyone felt very happy to be in the glow of the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita and to gently present it to the public, even as they were taking extra time to rest up during this marathon. Light marathon. No harm, no foul. Okay. Now we have a few other points to bring back. And speaking of back, we're back. Who's back? The whole global team and our focus on Bhadra Purnima, which has miraculously, by Krishna's mercy, become a major point of focus for the entire Krishna consciousness movement. Movement means something's got to move, right? And which way should we move? Well, following the ideas we had in talking about Swami's Gopal Krishna Maharaj, find out what the great devotees are doing or want done, and then try to do that. And whatever you measure, you can increase. Bhadra is a very worthy place to put our attention. So this year it's on 17th, 18th. We say two dates because there's two halves of the world, right? One's in light and one's in darkness at various times. So in America, it's on the 17th, if I've got that right. And in India, it's on the 18th. So if you see 17th, 18th, and you need an extra day, you can always pretend you're in India. Okay. So we say the Goloka ticket because of what the benediction that's given in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. If on the full moon day in the month of Bhadra, one places Srimad Bhagavatam on a golden throne and gives it as a gift, he will attain the supreme transcendental destination. Obviously, Srila Vyasadeva is making this a priority. The Srimad Bhagavatam is unparalleled literature, and making sure that it goes out to the world is the way to save each individual and to save the world. And we have anecdotal and also categorical scientific evidence that it works. Next. Here's how it looks right now. We're on the rise, and our 5-year goal has been to come in 2026 to a position globally through cooperation and through increasing our communication amongst each other, and making sure the printing is being done so that we have books available to achieve 108,000 sets, to be able to distribute 108,000 sets by 2026. In our upward pathway, we notice, just as when you're climbing to the summit of the Himalayas, you're going through the foothills, which it looks like in the lower part of this, you might think of the 108,000 as Mount Everest. And there's slight ups and downs, only one down though, which is last year. A lot of that is accounted for because of India's price increase on the books, and also a couple of places who are consequential not being able to come up to speed. They have assured us that they would like to get back on track for 2024. So we have every confidence that as we all look into how we can stay on track, we can reach together and offer to Srila Prabhupada by 2026 our capacity to distribute at least 108,000. Now I say 108 because we were saying 100,000 sets, but His Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj said, why not 108,000? And we could have put 100,008 also. But the fact that he said it, it's another way that when a great soul says something, we're very confident that will manifest. So following his divine words, we're endeavoring for 108,000. This is the look of the campaign. Bhadra goals for 2023. If you'll keep going, please. Where, oops. Okay, I'm going to go to my deck so I can see what we are. Hold on. Bhadra campaign goals for of 2023 of 55,000. Now we're going to have a look and see how everybody did. Go ahead. So here we are at New Zealand at 138. Then we have Australia, which was at 467. We have let's see, what is this? Fiji at 52. We have Far East at 4,311. Here we have Europe at 2,198. Africa, 624. South America, 82. North America, 6,747. India, 19,286. Total 33,905. Our goal for 2024 is 68,000. This is percentage-wise in keeping with reaching 108,000 by 2026. Continue. Go back. Thank you. We also have introduced an element to the campaigns of giving suggested places where one can focus on Prabhupada's books. We had a memorization challenge of going through Prahlad Maharaj's prayers before Nrsimha Chaturdashi, that 7th canto, 9th chapter. So you have your choice of memorizing all the verses or just reading them regularly and becoming acquainted with them. You'll recognize many of them because Prabhupada quoted from them so many times. We have recordings that you can listen to. We also have PDF of the verses, and hopefully you have a set of Bhagavatams where you can read through the purports. And if not, please contact me separately afterwards and we'll make sure you get one. Would you like to continue? A few points, and that is that our success depends on our attitude. This is Prabhupada's statement. And more than anything else, it's the way we approach this service together that makes the difference. It's one of our main areas of achievement is developing an attitude, service for service, and also assuming that it can be done. There's assuming that we can do it, and there's also making excuses why it can't be done. The two are at odds with one another. Assuming that it can be done, for instance, that we can distribute 108,000, is stimulating and exciting. Making excuses why it can't be done, or even why we shouldn't do it, is demotivating and completely boring and distracting from the goal of life. Just my humble opinion, giving my own commentary as we go. Next is to remind everyone of the mission regularly. Don't assume everyone remembers Bhadra Purnima or why we're doing it. A rule of thumb is that unless you remind not only your team members, but also your leaders of how important these campaigns are, then they forget. And you have to do it at least every 30 days, according to one study. that I heard called the Jericho study. And you can gently remind or bring to light the purpose of book distribution and the purpose of these campaigns. Already we've gotten such great traction by bringing this topic up. We brought it up to the GBC multiple times over many years, and then they adopted it as an official ISKCON program, but to speak of people all over the world. But we're operating only at a very limited level right now. We have not gotten full participation all over the world, which is good news because we have a lot more capacity. And how do we do it? We advocate and we remind ourselves and others of what our mission is. Next, how we do is more important than, where attention goes, energy flows. Just keep in mind, the most important asset that we have is our own attention. That's our free will to decide where we put our attention. And the Sri Upanishad says, Anyadevahor sambhavad, Anyadahor asambhavad. There's a big difference between focusing on the activities that are approved by the acharyas and diverting our attention to those things that are inconsequential and not important. And the more we're able to focus our attention on those areas that are highly authorized, for instance, there's 64 items of devotional service. Out of all of those, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said 5 are the most important. So if you're able to focus on those 5, you'll be highly successful in devotional service. Also, in expanding the movement, Prabhupada emphasized ad infinitum. The importance of book distribution and preaching means going out and touching people personally so we can put our attention to where it's most useful. Next goes to attitude again. How we do is more important than what we do. As we're doing this, even though we may increase capacity, it's how we cooperate with one another that really counts. And it shows our advancement in devotional service. It's the hardest thing to do, work with other people, because we all have our own individual ideas and we're little units of the Supreme. So we think oftentimes, at least for me, it's all the time, think that I'm the Supreme. So to be able to sublimate our own independent ideas and desires for the sake of cooperation for the greater good, it takes spiritual strength. And therefore, this mantra, how we do is more important than what we do, comes to mind because sometimes individual missions start thinking like we're more important than everyone else. One of the sure signs is we know how to preach, nobody else does, and so forth. So it's better to be tolerant of other people's ideas and try to cooperate with them. This is what advanced devotees do. That's according to Prabhupada. Next is our capacity is unlimited, but birds fly in the sky as high as they're able. But the sky is unlimited, so how high is enough? We're always trying to increase our capacity. And it is unlimited because it's coming from Krishna. So we can never say we've reached a plateau we can't do anymore. That's a materialistic idea. Spiritual idea is we're depending on Krishna's power, therefore we can continue to increase our capacity. And in book distribution, that's measurable. The next is always better service. Oh, I'm sorry. The next is the more we give, the more we grow. There's a movement meant to give. And counterintuitively, the more we are liberal and distribute books and give ourselves to others, the more we personally grow. Next is always better service. Always looking for a way to increase the quality of our service and the quantity of our service. And we can never assume that it's perfect. Prabhupada said about deity worship and the way we keep the temple, he said it should always be first class, and then he doubled back and he said, no, it should be better than first class. So that's something to meditate on. Is our service better than first class? If not, what things can we do to make it better than first class? Next is to work methodically. Means always consider what worked well in the last campaign and where there's room for improvement. If we do a retrospective every year, we can always find gaps and we can always find places where there are rooms for improvement. And finally, we come to your pledge is your wedge. Nothing moves until we make a bold declaration that we're going for a certain number. I've seen again and again, individually and also in groups, until the managing board or the person in charge or as an individual decides I'm going to do this and then writes it down as a number and said, here's how much we're going to do. That's when the energy comes and not before. You can't say, well, we'll try and then we'll make a pledge later. That's weak, and it's also slightly cowardly. But to make a pledge and say, here's the number we're going to aspire to, as soon as you do that and you write it down and you declare it and you make it public, then you'll lose a little sleep, and that's good. We want to be in that zone of anxiety where, how are we going to do it this time? Because in that question, we get the answer from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and that's how our movement expands. Unless we're a little bold and we take steps upwardly towards our next goal, then we don't expand. So finally, I said finally for the last one, but this is related to the last one, submit your pledge. Please, if you would be so kind, make a pledge, get together with your teams and find out what you did last year, what you will pledge for this year. And first class is that it's in line with reaching collectively our goal of 108,000 Srimad Bhagavatam sets by 2026, which means look towards a slight increase over last year, very particularly around 23%, to get to this next goal. And please do assume that it can be done. And we have streamlined the pledging process so that you can send it in, we can register it. This July 5th is Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's disappearance day. So we'll be praying for his mercy that we may offer him these pledges on the 5th of July. Om Tat Sat. Now we have a little opportunity to talk amongst ourselves. So I invite anyone who has an urge to speak about Krishna in your service to Krishna, if you'd like to say anything now about how you're doing, or ask others how they're doing, or present any breakthroughs that you have or any hesitancies that you have, please bring it up now and we'll discuss it amongst ourselves, because right now on this call we have those who are vitally interested in expanding the book distribution. Our operators are available to serve you 24/7. Our lines are now open. Everyone likes to talk and speak things. Don't go silent on us now. Okay, we have Puneet Sood. At least that's the name you have on your screen there. Please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandavat Pranams. Thank you for a wonderful session. I was just reading one of the slides where you had mentioned, sorry, I'm just trying to bring it up. How we do is more important than what we do. So this is kind of my hesitancy, and I was just joking that the way I am reading it in my mind is how what I do is more important than how I do it. So it's completely, 180 degrees. Can you help with some tips or suggestions on how I can be more focused on how we do is more important than what we do?
Well, as an example, when we go out into public and we meet people, we leave them with an impression. one way or another. It's either a good impression, a bad impression, or there's some kind of impression because people make impressions. So it's what we do. And if we chant really good rounds and we're reading Prabhupada's purports and we feel some love in our hearts when we meet people, and for instance, someone might say, no, I'm not interested. I don't even like you guys. If we say, oh, well, why don't you just jump in a lake and walk away from them in a passive aggressive way because we ourselves are not feeling very spiritual and we feel offended, our ego feels stepped on, then that might leave people with an impression that, yeah, I knew these guys were fakes anyway. So that's how we do. But if you have love in your heart, because you chanted rounds that were um, worthy of making the japa world record for concentration and love. And then somebody says, no, I'm not interested. And you say, well, it's just an honor to meet you anyway. And I'm thank you very much for taking a few seconds of your valuable time. Then when they walk away, they'll think, oh, maybe I should have listened to what this person said. That's an example of how we do. And when we're working on the world scene, if we come up with a way to distribute books that's better than others are doing, uh, it's nice to share it. That's in the mood of global cooperation. But if we think like, don't tell anybody because we don't want anybody to know our method, then we can shine and we can be the ones, and only we know how to distribute books. If we have that mood, then that's also, that's not a first class mood. First class mood is let's let everybody excel, help other people become better at what they do. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu indicated that in the cleansing the Gundicha temple when he saw others collecting more dust and straw from the temple than other people. He admonished them slightly, saying, you should be teaching other people how to do this in the way that you're doing it. So those are it's the mood of our hearts that make the difference. Okay, we have Divyanam Prabhu, and in a minute we're going to have one of our rising stars, Ranchor G, who's going to show some of the work he's been doing, the statistical analysis. Just telling you so you're ready, Ranchor. Okay, Divyanam Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, my obeisances to you and all the Vaishnavas, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. I just wanted to share some few updates and few things from UK and Europe side which we have been doing. So this year, our main kind of a theme of the Bhadra is inspiration and mood. And with that, we have already started to reach out. So we had a few weeks ago, Sri Krishna Purushottam Prabhu did a presentation to us here to the Europe devotees, which was very well received, and how we can capitalize on different events ISV is going. So we've already got kind of teams working. So we have a team who's focusing on the well-being events to make a presentation and be available there. We have a team who's going to be calling universities and colleges for asking for Bhagavatam. Then we have a team who's going to be focusing on streets and presenting Srimad Bhagavatam there. And then we had a wonderful call with Mahotsava Prabhu, where I think we were going through some challenges, and the call with him really helped. And a couple of things he said were really resonated. He said this whole mental block of the people of why we can't present the why Bhagavatam to the people who we're just meeting for the first time. People have to really put that back, because whether someone takes a Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam, as long as they're coming to Krishna consciousness, that's what it matters. So I just wanted to share that, and our yatra felt very uplifted with these sessions with Sri Krishna Purushottam Prabhu and Mahotsav Prabhu, to see how he's also doing presenting the sets to the Western audience actually. So that has been really helpful for us. We have also managed to secure Amrendra Prabhu for a long Katha event here in UK to help with the search. So that's something we have already planned out. Our dates are there. And then when you come to UK, Maharaj, we have collectively over the last sort of 2-3 weeks have called around 300 advocates or approximately, who have either sponsored or taken Bhagavatams, and we have all invited them for an event with you just to thank them and actually ask them to become book distributors for us. Because having seen all these challenges, we are trying to work out what are the ways we can keep on expanding. And in all these places, we have got really encouraging response actually. So just wanted to share some highlights from UK, Maharaj.
Thank you. That sounds like what Prabhupada's definition of daring and active would be. Thinking of ways to bring the energy into your team. Divyanam Prabhu, thank you for exemplifying that. So he's always thinking, and his leaders are always thinking, what can we do next to find out how to do better service? And it's always a good idea to bring in those who are doing it in a certain way to inform us. I
Maharaj,
have
just one
noted that
last
Nandini, I'm sorry?
sorry, Guru Maharaj, I just wanted to share one thing which, on a practical level, which is getting a lot of energy high in our community, is a tip which Mahotsav Prabhu gave. He said, never, always have one set of Bhagavatam in your car. Wherever you're going, just carry a Bhagavatam with you. And we're already finding the success. So, yeah, just over the last few days, the devotees have loaded up their cars with a Bhagavatam set. So we're going to just carry it everywhere. And whoever we meet, we're going to give it a try, Maharaj. So just wanted to
Okay,
mention.
make a note, Shamuhini. We'll make that part of our campaign. We'll put some branding to it with Bhagavatam in your car. The Bhagavatam, put a Bhagavatam in your car campaign. Don't leave home without it. Okay, I noted that Nandini Kishori has some question, but first I want to introduce to you uh, a young devotee. He was on our youth yatra, and you may or may not know during our yatras, we emphasize giving mercy, distributing books and prasadam, and we asked for a volunteer who would run the book distribution during the yatra. And Ranchor Prabhu, who is a disciple of His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj, and who wanted to follow in his footsteps and take up following his desire, volunteered for organizing all the youth on our yatra, and he was very successful, very methodical. What's more, after he finished, he said, how can I continue doing service for book distribution? And he joined our marketing, communications, and innovations team. He just happens to be very much involved in statistical analysis and things like that. So thank you very much, Rancho Prabhu, for showing how our youth can start taking up the mantle of book distribution, and show us some of the work that you've been doing, please. Oh,
We can't hear you, Prabhu.
we do know how to read lips, but it's better if you put a thing on.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right, apologies. Hare Krishna, Maharaj, Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and all glories to his transcendental book distribution movement. We'd just like to share something we've been working on to make it easier for devotees to make informed pledges. In the past, we try to make pledges based on previous data. So as Maharaj mentioned, we're aiming for 23% increases year after year. So in order to find that, like what we're making 23% increase, we need to know what we had in the past year. So this year we created a tool to make it easy for different Sankirtan leaders to access data from previous years so that they can easily calculate a pledge for this year. It's a pretty intuitive tool. You can first select your region and then your country. We'll pick on Toronto right now, and then your center. There's a version with quick stats that should show the ideal pledge. So Toronto is expected to pledge about 379 Srimad Bhagavatam sets in order to match a 23% increase year over year in order to hit our goal of 100K in 2026. But we also have more statistics. You can see a nice little graph to show your past data and your future data. And additionally, we have statistics about lifetime sets, your ideal pledge for 2024, and then also looking way ahead in the future into 2026, what you'll need to do in order to hit that 100K and help the world hit that 100K. To make it easier for communities, we also have a generate to PDF option, and you can download the report. And you can see if you'd like to share it with other Yatra leaders in a quick way, you can download the report with all the statistics online. Additionally, there were some communities that did exceptionally well. For example, I'll pick on another community, Alachua, which is a powerhouse for many things in the United States, but especially book distribution. if you noticed, they are on track to do in 2026 200 based off of a 23% increase from 2022, 205 books, but they already did 205 books or 205 sets in 2023. So for congregations like this, we also provide a slight challenge, just a 5% increase from what they did in 2023 in order to keep the momentum going and allow for us to maybe maximize our goal for that. Additionally, you can generate your PDF for the entire country or for the entire region in order to make it easy for you and your Sankirtan leaders to see scores for a bunch of communities at a glance. So yeah, this is the tool we have. I can put the link in the chat and hopefully we'll send it out into the broadcast group a little bit later on. But we hope that this tool allows all communities to make more informed decisions on how they can pledge and what they can pledge. Hare Krishna.
Ranchar, Prabhu, can you just in 30 seconds tell us how it feels to be engaged in the service, what it means to you?
Yeah, I think it means a lot to me to be engaged in this service. Being engaged in a service so dear to Srila Prabhupada and the Guru Parampara. We sing every morning, Yasya Prasada Bhagavad Prasado. And I feel like sometimes it's difficult to understand how we can actually please a spiritual master. But Shamoni Mataji was telling me a few days ago that there's no doubt that this pleases Srila Prabhupada. 108% chance this pleases Srila Prabhupada. So it feels very wonderful that we're able to use new technologies in order to give pleasure to our Guru Parampara and ultimately Lord Chaitanya and Radha Shamsundar.
Thank you very much, Ranchar. Prabhu, our poster child for youth book distribution. Hare Krishna. Work smarter, not harder. Okay, we have a couple of questions from Nandini Kishori, who's a concierge for North America, at least for America. Anutama Prabhu is covering Canada, our friends to the north. Go ahead, Nandini Kishori, ask a couple questions.
Dandat Pranam Maharaj. So my questions are about Spanish sets, French sets, Bhagavatam sets, Ukrainian sets, Kannada sets. We always have this messages coming. Are they available? When they will be available? Would you please give us some definitive answers?
Okay.
Montreal has French sets coming from Europe, I heard.
For that, I'll defer to Shamahini and Malini Devidasi, or anybody else has the answer. But for Shamahini, Malini, go ahead. Where are these sets available? How many are there? What's in inventory?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. This is Malini Devidasi. Please accept my humble obeisances, or Guru Prabhupada. Regarding the Kannada sets, we just asked BBT North America, and they are going to place an order which will come in October for Kannada sets. We placed a few, but if more devotees wanted them, then we can increase the number of sets. The reason Kannada sets was not included in the regular BBT order is because it is coming from a different sector, not from the BBT Mumbai. But we spoke to Bhima Prabhu, and he said he will arrange for the Kannada sets to be shipped to US as well. So that was the Kannada. And regarding the Spanish Srimad Bhagavatam sets, we are working with the BBT Latin America, and they are actually going to start a new print run. And they're good. Two good news in that. One is that yes, we have placed an order for North America as well for the Spanish sets to come, but they're still waiting for the print run to finish and to bring the books here. And I will ask for the exact dates, and I will post it on the North American Sankirtan Leaders group to get the dates, or for other groups as well. The other good news is that if you are placing your Srimad Bhagavatam sets through LAFTA, like we did last year, and there is a good chance that there will be a significant decrease in the price. Previously, it used to be about $150, but now, because of the new print run, it might be significantly reduced, and the exact prices will also be shared. This means that we can place more Srimad Bhagavatams out in Latin America, like we used to do for Gram Vidyadan in India. And regarding French, I am not sure, Prabhu. I don't have any information on that. Thank you very much.
Divinam Prabhu, do you have information? By the way, that's the only kind of decrease we actually like, decrease in price of the books. Divyanam Prabhu, give us a quick update on French. We
Maharaj,
want
yes,
French.
Maharaj. Last year, Jananand Maharaj, I think last couple of years, he's been working hard and they managed to get a print run for the French set. So I can follow up as to where we are with the BBT and come back to Shama Mohini Mataji to add it to the resources which can be circulated further. I believe it is available. They've been printed recently, at least in Europe, Maharaj, the French sets.
Let's get them right away. Every town and village means every language, and we have a language project where we're systematically making sure that we have all sets in all languages that are viable around the world. It's a long-term project, but the more we press it, the more we'll have available to every demographic group and language. Okay, we have Nandini Kishore, was that it, or do you have another question? Okay, we have Sri Krishna Purushottam has his hand up. Please go ahead, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandot Pranam.
Krishna.
Best Prabhupada. Prabhuji, this one is regarding our ISV. We have this Braille Bhasha project. So we have 100 sets in LA, Los Angeles. Shah Mohini Mataji is working with his team on the flyer. So if you can encourage devotees to take some this Braille Bhagavad Gitas to the blind children, because the India BBT is asking me, Prabhu, that 100 sets is 100 Braille books, Bhagavad Gitas are laying in LA. So if you can inspire us, that would be great, Prabhuji.
Yeah, it's a good idea. These niche markets can be very significant, and you can get huge percentage increases because the niche is quite defined, and it's rather noticeable when people start to take the Krishna consciousness. So consider having somebody in your group look into this specifically and find out how they can interface with the local groups that are teaching those who are blind. And we have a huge movement in Europe of those who are hearing impaired and speech impaired who have taken to Krishna consciousness. It's a hugely expanding sector, and they even have books of signing for Krishna consciousness and so forth. Okay, let's see. What is the price of the Braille Bhagavad Gita, please?
I think it's $108, Prabhu, our price.
$108. We always ask first, how many would you like? Okay, 108. So let's see whatever, we just have a few minutes left. I know Ambarishi Maharaj is here. How are things going in Russia? Or anybody else who has a question. Maharaj, there you are. My obeisances. Great to see you as usual.
Hare Krishna. We have a team working on a website, Russian website for Bhadra campaign. And devotees are very inspired to increase, to double the distribution of Srimad Bhagavatam sets this year. So we are trying to inspire everybody to participate, and we want to distribute all the Bhagavatams that are available in the BBT storage this year and new printing next year.
You just brought life back into our bodies, Maharaj. Thank you. So calmly but confidently stating that they will double what they're doing, and they're moving ahead with other ways to make it visible. Now we have Mukaravinda Prabhu and Ramani.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble wishes all to the assembled devotees. I just wanted to share one success story, since you asked in the beginning that how this like our campaigns are helping. So you always motivated us to think big, and you always thought that how success comes to the prepared mind. And we had this pipelines that you have set up, whether it's Gram Vidya Dan or the books that can be donated. So there was an opportunity came in one of the corporate place, and some of the devotees organized the campaigns together. They put the like all the things that can be, and also use the modern technology like Chat GPT and all, how we can have like very attractive campaigns. It's not just like sometimes we write the campaigns, that language may not be appealing to the people, those who are reading them, but how you can make it attractive. There are so many tools available. So using the technology, we use the chat GPT and how we can have attractive campaigns and everything. And by that, we could see, we could generate more than 1,000 plus sets of the sponsorship for the books and everything. So I wanted to just share that's a success story from the one of the small effort that done for this. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Mukharvind. That's an excellent reminder that we have pipelines going out to the whole world. One of the ways that sometimes people wonder is if people sponsor books, where should they go? Should they sit in people's garages for a whole year and then the next year they say we already have books? Or should they go out immediately to places where the books will be read and people become devotees? We vote for number 2. And therefore, it's good to look into the pipelines that we have available. We have LAFTA, we have NIFTA. What else do we have? We have the pipeline to Africa, to Japan, all over the world, books can go out immediately. I'd like to bring notice to His Grace Anuttama Prabhu, who's always on the call, very faithfully doing his service. And one of the hallmarks of his service is that he personally gets in touch with every single Sankirtan leader in Canada. In fact, he drives there and meets them face to face to make sure they have everything they need and that they're feeling well situated in their service. Can you give us a 1-minute update of your realization about your service and how it's going up there?
Thank you for the opportunity. It's going really well, actually. Speaking of traveling, I'll be going to Calgary next week for Narsingha Chaturdasi to advocate for book distribution and even having small centers make goals. And I mentioned that to get started, you have a goal of greater than 0, but not less than 1. So we can get some of the smaller centers participating in the Bhadra campaign. And I'm also hosting a online Srimad Bhagavatam study group just locally for outreach. And I'm hoping that that will also translate to Bhagavatam sets this season. So, Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for your service in Uttamabu. I could honestly say that, at least for one part of the world, I get a sound sleep at night because you're there. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Maharaj.
I think that we should all put a set of books in our car and advocate for others to do that. I'm going to do it today forthwith. I'd also like to have somebody, maybe Sri Krishna Purushottam Prabhu, look into see if Stevie Wonder has a set of, if he reads Braille, if you could look it up. And if he doesn't, I'd like to sponsor a Braille Bhagavad Gita for Stevie Wonder. Okay, Naikatma Prabhu, for the close, because we're coming near the end.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Maharaj, this is Naikatma Das from Dubai, Damodar Desh.
Dubai Ki Jai.
Thank you. So just wanted to give a nice update. For the first time, the Krishna's Mercy Bhagavad Gita has been officially been approved by the Dubai Media Council. So we got a registration number, and this is not due to our efforts. A couple who are on the way to be devotees, their name is Balaji and Anaga. They run the bookstall in the first Hindu temple in Dubai. There's one in Abu Dhabi, we're talking about the one in Dubai. So they took a risk and they applied for it and they got it. And they've been running this bookstall for some time. And we managed to get introduced to them, and we have been supplying Gitas in various Indian languages and English for some time now. And slowly we are increasing the number of books. We are introduced Srila Prabhupada, small books, medium books, and also Ramayana. And today we spoke to them about Srimad Bhagavatam. They mentioned that somebody inquired about it. So by next week, we plan to place a Srimad Bhagavatam set out there. And we are in negotiations with them to reduce the price of the books. Currently, each Gita is going for around $30, $40. So we want to make it more affordable. So negotiations are on, and we seek your prayers and blessings for this couple, for their entrepreneurial spirit and what they did. It opened up doors for us, and we are now putting together a plan to place Bhagavad Gita in bookstores here through the official route instead of being the unofficial route that we are bringing. So this is a big breakthrough, and we feel that hopefully this will, over a period of time, help us to get into libraries. That's a bit of sensitive point, but we still will keep trying, and we seek your prayers and blessings so that we may advance in a cautious, step-by-step manner in this direction. Hare Krishna.
Naikaba, what a report. Fantastic. Thank you very much for giving that from your mobile studio there in Dubai. And
I'm on the way to Saudi Arabia, which is called Sanatan Dham. Our code name is for Sanatan Dham. So I'm on the way to there for work.
Sanatan
So,
Dham, Saudi
yeah.
Arabia book distribution Ki Jai.
Yeah.
This is statistical analysis shows some of the smartest devotees on the planet live in the Middle East. And it's also an example they're showing how to work smarter, not harder. Some of our biggest gains, percentage-wise, come from thinking, how can we do this in a smarter way? And I congratulate you for doing that. I'd also like, this is the end of today's show. It is that the pledges are what matter now. I said it earlier, your pledge is your wedge. It opens up a whole new world. If you want an exciting life, if you want a life where there's growth, if you want a life where there's a reciprocation from Krishna on all levels, make a pledge and encourage your center to make a pledge. It has to be something more than 0 and not less than 1 in order to be in the game. But get in it, make the pledge as soon as possible, because that's when the energy starts moving. Take advantage of Ranchor Prabhu's new device. Let's test it out and see how it works. Be the first to put your pledge in there. And finally, strategically, I think this is the most important year, because Krishna gave us a little gut check last year when India went down, and it caused a systemic decrease in our upward climb towards 108,000 sets of Bhagavatams. I really am eager to see this year as a comeback year to get back on track. We can make it to the 108,000, I think, if this year can be really successful, and we can get back on track so that the next 2 years will be doable in proportion to what we're doing. So this year is going to require a little special effort. We've seen it before during the pandemic when everyone said, oh, let's just take the year off, or maybe 6 months because this thing will be over soon. And instead of doing that, we said, let's find out how to make it work. And this is one of those years where Krishna is giving us that opportunity. Just like when he was in Kaliya, he allowed himself to be held in the coils of Kaliya, so everyone would be in more anxiety. So now we're in more anxiety because we took a dip down, and now's the chance we have to make a comeback, as Krishna did when he broke free and started dancing in Kaliya's heads. Let's give a victorious offering at the end of this year, 2024, that puts us on track for the final push in the last couple of years. It'll be the glory of ISKCON to get to 100,008. Dear Srila Prabhupada, dear Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Shri Panchatattva, Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan, Shri Shri Radha Govinda, Shri Shri Radha Gopinath, Shri Shri Lakshmi Sringadev, if you so desire, please empower us to work together cooperatively in a spirit of loving service to the Guru Parampara and His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Please let us be generous and always daring and active in our service to expand book distribution. Let us also be merciful to ourselves by hearing from Srila Prabhupada's books every day and then distributing the contents to everyone that we meet in ways that will open their hearts and put them into the Kevala Anandakanda, the blissful path of devotional service. Thank you for considering our request. And please, if you so desire, please let us smash our goals and put us back on track for 108,000 capacity in 2026. Let 2024 be our comeback year. Thank you for considering our requests, multiple requests. Om Tat Sat. Everyone who agrees with these prayers in whole or in part, please unmute and say Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Gopi Vishta, Krishna Do big, everybody. Put a set of Bhagavatams in your car.
Haribo.
Get
Hare
pledges.
Krishna,
Get
Guru.
pledges. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Premanande
Hare
Haribol.
Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Haribol.
Hare Krishna.